Honorable Kgabo.
Thanks for the opportunity, Chairperson. Let me once more again pass my greetings, and let me also welcome the presentation from the creative industry concerned practitioners. Your story is very painful and touching, but over and above, let's get clarity from people that must provide a clarity. Chair, if I may ask, is the minister part of this meeting? Because he said that he will be part of the meeting. That will be my first question.
No, the apology has been made.
The minister is not part of this meeting. Okay. Maybe I must remind you that yesterday the minister has committed that he's going to form part of this meeting.
Yes, Honorable. When we started, we indicated he is not.
No, as much as you indicate the apology, I must also indicate that in yesterday's meeting he has made a commitment.
Noted.
So the fact that he submitted an apology does not change the fact that he committed yesterday.
Noted. Don't fight with me. I'm in this meeting.
No, thanks, Chair. Maybe you must get used to my tone. I'm not fighting. That's how I express myself. And pardon me in advance that I'm unable to massage your feelings as expected.
I have some honey here.
I want to check with you in terms of this panel of adjudicators. I must get my question from the department. Deputy Director of MGE. Can you clarify me in terms of the panel? How many members are there? Yeah, I prefer one-on-one so that you don't dribble me along the way with your response.
Thank you, Honorable Member. There are 6. Mr. Moloi is part of the panel. I think the issue with him is that he's got 2 surnames, Molefe and Moloi, but he has always been part of the panel from the beginning. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. This panel of 6 people who have taken decisions on behalf of a lot of millions, how was this panel constituted? For now, I'm just concentrating on you, worry less. I agree you are the one who's leading the MGE.
I'm a deputy director, yes, but I do have an acting chief director, the ADDG and the DG.
Now let me talk to you then.
Okay.
Okay, fine. Let me stick to you. How was the panel constituted?
The panel is, according to the policy, this panel is appointed by the minister because it's an outside panel, external people from government, or from the department rather.
No, thank you very much. Deputy Minister, you are here. Welcome. Thank you very much. The minister is not here. Were you part of the appointment of the panel?
I'm not sure how to respond to your question.
Not a problem. If you are not sure on how to respond to my question, then Deputy Minister is not a problem. You see, that's the reason why I wanted the minister to form part of this meeting. It has been presented here that the panel was appointed by the minister. So the point of departure will then be understanding, amongst others, the terms of reference of the adjudication panel. How was the panel appointed? I'll give you a practical example. In the Department of Higher Education and Training, we are stuck with a situation where we were given an impression that there is an independent panel that was supposed to process the application that led to the appointment of board members of SETAs. We were told in the meeting that there is a panel. Fast forward 3 weeks, 6 weeks down the drain, none of the panel members is confirming that they were part of the panel. In fact, all of the members of the panel were rejecting the fact that they formed part of the process of appointing people. It is for that reason, Chairperson, firstly, I must reject the apology of the department in terms of the panel not being here. Must firstly reject the apology. Secondly, must equally reject, with the contempt it deserves, the apology of the panel. I'm not sure if the department must tell us, if they are the ones who have appointed these people, how is it that the panel is not here? That is one question that I wanted to raise, and I'm not sure how we're going to deal with these matters, because all of these things, it then says that the minister was supposed to be here, the panel was supposed to be here. Because for you to interrogate the work that has been done by the panel, you must firstly get clarity as to how were these people appointed. We don't even have the academic background here, Chairperson. We are just told that this person is a writer, this person is a renowned writer or filmmaker. We don't even have their academic background. So the person who was supposed to take us into confidence is the minister in terms of the process that he has followed. But now that the minister is not here, I would also propose that this meeting, amongst others, we can process these issues. But it will require us to have the minister and the panel being present in this meeting. Because it does not make sense to me, Chairperson, for the panel to engage with us via Zoom or whichever visual platform that they are using. It to me does not make sense. But let me maybe drive something home to prove to you that we are skating on thin ice here. I can continue with my process of asking questions if you allow me. But my argument here is that we should be sitting with the minister, we should be sitting with the panel in this room. So that when we begin to seek clarity on some of these questions, we have been given the necessary response that we are going to get. I mean, already the deputy minister is giving us an impression that she was not part of the process. That's the impression that she's giving us, because she's saying that she's unable to respond to the question that I'm posing.
Yeah, Honorable Kgabo, I would argue that the deputy minister must be in a position to respond to some of these things. It's the minister, it is the deputy minister. When the minister is not available, the deputy minister must respond. And if the deputy minister can't respond, the director is here. So there must be answers today. I mean, they work as a collective. They work all together. They must know what is transpired, and decisions are being taken on behalf of Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. So the whole of the contingent must be aware of that. Proceed, I stole some of your time.
No problem, Chair. In fact, probably if they can provide the answers, if you allow. We've got the Deputy Minister, DG, you are no longer acting, you are with us now. We've got the Director General, so if they can provide those answers in terms of how was the panel
Deputy Minister.
Thanks, Chair. I would request the deputy to respond.
Okay, apologies for that. Yeah, as the Deputy Director, MGE, has indicated, the process of appointment of the panel was done through the Minister. And the identification of the people that then serve in the panel, the Minister looked widely across the kind of experience he would like to see in people that would be able to then adjudicate. And from the 6 people that are in the panel currently, their competencies, as far as we know as a department, then cut across areas of music, performing arts, areas of books and publishing, etc. But basically, in terms of process, it's adjudication panel appointed by Minister.
according to you, DG, did the minister handpick these people from the industry or even from the streets, or these people, panel members, were appointed through a transparent process where people within the industry are allowed to volunteer their services?
The nomination and the appointment of these people followed the handpicking. It wasn't a process that involved consultation with the industry.
Okay, no, thank you very much, DG. Then if I can check with Mr. Motale. I'm not sure if Mr. Motale is the one leading the panel. If I can check with Mr. Motale, did he get an appointment letter from the minister? And if so, when did he get that appointment letter? And what were the appointment letter directing him of his key responsibilities? The last part, whether there was any remuneration assigned to the work to be done by the chair.
Mr. Mutale?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Honorable Member. Yeah, all 6 panelists, we received letters of appointment from the department, and of course, there was remuneration for the services that we render. Thank you, Chair.
No, thank you very much, Chairperson. While we are still there, we'll request Mr. Motale to share that appointment letter with us. Maybe if I can check with Mr. Motale in terms of the process that he led as the chair of the adjudication. The first question that I wanted to check, what is their turnaround time for processing applications?
Thank you, Honorable Member. There was no specific turnaround time, but the job that we did, all in all, if I were to guess, it took us about 7 to 8 weeks. Thank you.
According to your letter of appointment, when were you expect to complete this task of adjudication?
The letter of appointment did not specify, was not specific as to when the job had to be completed.
Okay, let me go to your issues then. In terms of your process, how many meetings have you set so far as a panel?
In here. We sat for several weeks, like I indicated to you, but we were breaking down jobs per week. We would see on a weekly basis and then submit our reports online and regroup again. But I've indicated to you earlier that the process must have taken, the department can verify, it must have been a 7 to 8 week job.
Okay, I want to check with you in terms of your adjudication process. It is alleged that some of the preliminary outcome indicates that some of the companies that were appointed are either deregistered or are not part of the sector. Can you take us into confidence in terms of the process that you follow leading up until the appointment of a successful applicant, not forgetting the due diligence of importance that you play in the process?
Okay. First of all, the vetting process was not done by the adjudication panel. The department receives applications and then they vet as to which ones are compliant. Only the compliant ones were presented to us. In terms of which one did not have a tax clearance and what, that was not our job. We were only presented with those that were compliant that we had to adjudicate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think you captured the response, and the person of MGE. Can we get clarity in terms of my initial question? Take us through the process. The last part, the Departmental decided not to respond to it, but I'm going to repeat the question again. Let me start with this one. Take us into confidence in terms of the process that you follow. From a point of receiving application, remember it has been indicated that you are the ones who are dealing with the vetting process. There are allegations that some of the companies that you have appointed, even though it's preliminary outcomes, some of these companies are deregistered, some of these companies are owned by foreign nationals. Just clarify the process and clarify the role players in the process.
Thank you. I will be speaking to specifically to the revised call, which was a manual process, because the initial one, the process is automated. It's on the e-services portal. In this case, the proposal were received in 2 ways. They were received through the drop-off at the drop.
No, don't do that to me and don't do that to yourself. Agreed was explained in the report on different modalities. Take us through the process of you, after you have received the applications, what process do you follow that will lead to a point of you presenting a list of people who are either compliant or non-compliant to the adjudication? The adjudication committee is claiming that you are the ones who are starting the process. They were not even involved in the vetting. That's what I'm saying. Don't tell me about the process that started in terms of receiving application. Take it from a point whereby after you have received the application, what is it that you are doing?
Oh, okay. I will start it from there. The applications that were received through email and through the boxes are captured to create a register of all applications received. And that is done by various officials in the department that assist to capture the applications. We create our IT internally assisted us to create a portal where everybody could capture these applications. During that capturing, the team the capturers look through the documentation. There's a list of documents that are published in the guidelines that are required. They were on page 8 of the guidelines that were provided to the committee. They check just at the compliance at this stage. If you submitted all the required documents, that's where you have the two groups of compliant and non-compliance in terms of the documentation. Then those that are compliant then move to the panel. The panel will then focus mostly on the adjudication.
Before you go to the panel now, the panel says that they are not vetting, meaning that once you deal with the compliance, that's part of the process of vetting. Now, after you have done with the vetting, is there any person, you said that the team that you are having of capturers will then deal with the process of capturing at the same time checking whether the company is compliant or not. After they have checked that process, before they submit it to the adjudication panel, is there any process or is there any senior top management that oversees the process as to whether the junior officials have done it correctly and in line with the prescribed requirements?
Just to correct this, I had not said they verified companies at this stage. They're looking at the compliance documents. If you submitted all the documents you're supposed to submit as per requirement on page 8 of the guidelines. So I think I should monitor that. The panel, I would be the one as a deputy director, but within the whole process is overlooked by the acting chief director of cultural development. So those would be the junior manager and the senior manager in terms of this process at this time.
How do you do your vetting?
As indicated, Chair, as indicated, Honorable Member, on page 8, it lists the documents that are listed. So at this time, they checked, is there a proposal? They're not looking at the content of the proposal, but is there a proposal? Is there a tax compliance document as required? Is there a copy of ID that is certified as required? They look at all those issues that are listed on page 8. That to see if there's no ID, then they noted that there's no ID that is supported. If there's no text, they say no, there's no text that was submitted. So the capturers, that's their role at this stage.
How do you verify compliance of a company, its legitimacy? Do you log into the CIPC site or how do you verify it?
That stage comes later. So I don't know if we need to go through the stage or should we just jump to that end?
Yeah, I want that end in particular.
Okay, at that end, when the panel is done with adjudication, the list is...
Sorry, maybe I'm lost. Which panel are you referring to? The one that it says that it does not deal with the vetting?
Yes, I was saying once they've then sent their recommended projects, remember they've adjudicated now, then there's a list of recommended projects that have been recommended. Yes, then those projects, the ones that have been recommended, those are the ones that they were spoken of that the list was published. Those ones, then they then move to the next stage. This stage is also spoken to in the guidelines, where then before the contracting stages, then all those things that you are talking about are then verified. That's where then they look into issues of like other government workers. They go in the system on the DPSA to check if they're government workers. There's also the process of now verifying if all the directors are South African citizens as stated in the guidelines. So that process is then done at that stage because there is more resources available at that stage before while contracting, during the contracting stage or pre-contracting to ensure that all those matters are looked at.
Okay. Now, there are allegations of companies that are not compliant. I would like you to clarify that part in terms of what is your take. The second part that I want to check from you Now that you've got preliminary outcomes presented, what is your appeals process and what is its turnaround time?
Okay, in terms of the first part that you're speaking to, Chair, there are 3 deputy directors under MGE. So when it goes to the compliance, then the other deputy director begins to take up that role of the processing. There are more program managers. I am more on the side of the processes of through the applications, the advert. I'm assisting in that. There are other ones who can be.
Who are those 2 directors and why are they not here?
All report to the ACD. So,
Who's the ACD?
our chief.
Maybe we can check with the chief. Why are the 2 other directors not here? Our mama on Shavana Garanong. Was that something foreign, Yana? Or what? Like a whole. She's saying that she's not
Yes.
part of that critical process. Those 2 people are not part of the meeting. And I'm asking, what are the names of those 2 people and why are they not here?
Okay, the names of the 2 officials that also work in the same section of MGE, it's Mr. Dunisan Chabalala and Mr. Dumison Glow. I think it was an oversight on our side to bring them on board because we thought we would deal with it through Kia, the manager. Thank you.
The issue of the appeals process. You want to get into?
Yes, Honorable Member, I just want to add, if you look at the document that was attached to the presentation, the one I was referring to earlier on, because I just want to emphasize something. There is a process that happens upon receipt of the applications, which Ms. Alabi is talking about, where they will go through this whole list of the 5 things, are they there? So they are not looking, if there's a company registration certificate, I want to make an example, they would then add that lot into the applications that will go to the adjudicating panel. That company registration certificate doesn't go through a verification in terms of its authenticity at that particular time. So all those applications in terms of the numbers you saw in the presentation, there is somewhere where it said compliant ones, non-compliant. They would then all go to the education panel. The education panel adjudicates the business plan or the proposal. They don't look at the company registration, etc. The 154, I think it was about 154, that they then recommended to the department to say, these are the people that meet the conditions in terms of what they were adjudicating about, in terms of the proposal itself. That will then come back. When it comes back, I'm referring to the 154, when those actually come back to us to say, these are the ones that are recommended, the teams are divided. There are people that deal with touring ventures. There are those that deal with the different categories under the CCIP program. They will then take over those. They are the ones that will then go into detail in terms of those 154 applications as recommended by the adjudicating panel. When they do that process, they would then go into checking. That is why in the report, Chair, that was presented by Mr. Tanyani, you found that there's a section there that was saying there were some that were either withdrawn or found to be not meeting the requirements in terms of the status of the company, etc. I think there's about 7 there. So that is how you will then find that there are those that are recommended by the adjudication panel, but the number reduces later on when we want to sign the MOA with a specific person. We did not bring the others, Chair, the other project manager, because I think it was a call that we made in terms of these particular people that were here will then respond to the others that they are referring to are at a level below the chief director, as she has indicated. And I think between us, we should be able to then handle the questions. If not, we will then respond in writing afterwards.
I want you to, before Chair, I had my time is
Yeah,
over.
clear.
Just the last one. I want to get clarity from. Are you saying that what the adjudication is saying is true? That they did not deal with the finalization of the process, including the verification of the legitimacy of those companies, but rather it is the department who has concluded that process. In fact, we are dealing with two separate processes here. There is an internal process run by the department which finalizes things, and there is the initial or the first panel that deals with verification as to whether people have submitted. Then there is an internal process that the department deals with, and that process is the one that leads to the appointment of a successful applicant. Do I get you correctly?
In a sense, but can I put it in my own ways, honorable member? There's three processes from how I look at it. It's the first process in terms of the verification, whether or not you submitted all these documents. It then goes through, that's the second process. They sit, they adjudicate. As Mr. Mutale was indicating, they are adjudicating per clusters, etc., etc. They will be doing fashion and design 1 weekend. When they finish it, they send it back. When they send it back, it comes back to us. We take the 154, and I'm using the specific example because I believe that was the number here. We take that whole lot that comes to them, we publicize it, because that's what the policy says. We publicize the list as recommended by the adjudication panel. Once we actually have publicized, then the third process kicks in that I'm talking about. That is where a project manager or program manager, I think that's what they are called, the program manager, they say it's Touring Ventures. He is now saying Stella Pty Ltd is one of those that have been recommended. He then goes through the particular process. What they would find sometimes, Chair, as an example, is maybe amongst the directors, there's someone who's a government employee. I'm just making that as it's only at that time that that person will then be excluded from the final listing. Amongst other things, I'm just making one of the examples around what will then exclude a person even after they've been recommended.
No, in a way you have confirmed that ultimately it is the department that.
Honorable Kgabo will definitely give you another
Another provision.
Honorable